ਸਕੈਰਬੋਰੋ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਬਿਲ ਬਲੇਅਰ ਨੇ ਬੀਤੇ ਦਿਨੀ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵੈਸਟ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਕਮਲ ਖੈਰਾ ਦੇ ਦਫ਼ਤਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਈ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਮੈਂਬਰਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਖਾਸ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ। ਇਸ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਨੌਜਵਾਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੈਨਾਬੀਜ਼ ਵਰਗੇ ਮੁੱਦਿਆਂ ਸੰਬੰਧੀ ਜਾਗਰੂਕਤਾ ਪੈਦਾ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਖਾਸ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਵੀ ਕੀਤੀ। ਤੇ ਇਸੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਬਿਲ ਬਲੇਅਰ ਨੇ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਹਿਯੋਗੀ ਜਸਲੀਨ ਕਾਲਰਾ ਨਾਲ ਖਾਸ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ। ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਕਿਹਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ, ਆਓ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ।
Joining here with me, a Canadian politician and a federal member parliament representing Scarborough. He is also currently a parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Justice. Before entering federal politics, he has worked as a Toronto police chief. Yes, we are talking about Member Parliament Bill Blair. Hello, Mr. Blair. Very warm welcome to PDC, and we are very delighted to have you.
And I'm delighted that you have allowed me to come on. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss this with you.
Thank you. Let's begin with the current issue in Canadian Parliament, M103, the Islamophobia motion.
Yes.
This issue has been discussed a lot of times in the Parliament. What do you think about it?
Well, you know, I'm privileged to represent the people of Scarborough Southwest, and an enormous part of my constituency are members of the Muslim community. They are my neighbors, my friends. They are fellow Canadians, and they have been very concerned about the level of bigotry and hatred that has been directed towards their community. The terrible tragedy in Quebec City a few weeks ago in which 6 men's lives were taken,
Yes.
in a simple act of worship and prayer. And it is a great concern in the community. And I will tell you, I am very proud of my colleague and my caucus for coming forward with this issue, to taking a very strong stand in condemning bigotry and hatred against the Muslim community, Islamophobia, in all of its forms. I think that is the responsibility of parliamentarians, of leaders in all of our communities, in right across the country, to stand against hatred, to stand against bigotry. The greatest strength of this country is its diversity. And the contribution of our Muslim citizens in this country has to be recognized. It has to be respected and has to be supported.
Definitely. Our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, recently visited the United States, and
Yes.
he met President Donald Trump, where they discussed various issues like economy, trade, women in workforce, most
Yes.
importantly. What do you think, what benefits Canada can get from this visit?
Well, a number of things. First of all, the relationship with the United States is a very important one to this country because they are our number one trading partner. They are an enormous country right next to us, and therefore a good working relationship with the American government and the American people is tremendously important. And I will tell you, I think our Prime Minister did an outstanding job in his visit there in making sure that we continue the strength of our relationship with our greatest trading partner, but also to demonstrate to the Americans and to the world the strength of Canadian values, who we are as a people and what we represent. I think Canada can be an outstanding example to the world on how people should live together and how we should embrace each other and respect each other. People of all walks of life, every faith tradition, every culture, women, people of different gender identities, right across this country. We respect each other, we support each other, we embrace our diversity. And I think it's a great example for the Prime Minister to make, not only in the United States, he's currently in Europe, as you know.
Yes.
And in Europe, he's I think, standing up for those same values and that same principles. It makes me very proud to be a Canadian.
Definitely, he is making all the Canadians very proud, and he's the first Canadian Prime Minister to address the European Union Parliament.
Yes, indeed. And I think that's a remarkable privilege. And our Prime Minister has really extended the Canadian influence and improve Canadians' reputation around the world. That also helps us not only in people thinking well of our country, but it helps us in our trade agreements. You know, it reaches out to potential trading partners in Europe and around the world that will create opportunities. And one of the things our government is committed to is creating better opportunity to grow our economy and to improve the quality of life for the middle class and people who want to become part of the middle class. And our Prime Minister has been working very hard internationally and here at home in order to create those economic conditions to ensure people can get good jobs, a good future for our young people.
Moving on to fentanyl and opiate crisis in Canada. It's increasing and slowly affecting a lot of people.
Yes.
It has been discussed a lot of time in the Parliament as well. Mr. Blair, you have worked as an undercover officer with
Yes.
Toronto's drug squad team. you can personally put in your input and help the federal government.
Yes, and that's one of the strengths of our government. We are all encouraged to bring our lived experience and our various perspectives of our communities and of ourselves to the government and to share that experience. And on the fentanyl crisis, it is truly a crisis in this country. More than 3,000 people lost their life to opioid overdose in the past year. And we need, as a country and as a government, to respond appropriately. And our government has already through Bill C-37, brought forward new legislation that will create new tools and new ways in which we can make our communities safer. But we must all commit to do more. We must make sure that we do everything possible to restrict and limit the supply of these illegal drugs coming into this country. We have a great deal of work to do to reduce the demand for these illegal and dangerous drugs. We need to educate our citizens on the risks that they're taking, especially the naive user of these drugs. When people who are not familiar with them can accidentally lose their lives because they don't have the information. And we also need to invest in rehabilitation and detox services so that when people who are getting into trouble with these drugs have the health supports and services that they need to recover from their addiction. This is an enormous challenge, but Canada is up to the challenge. And I think there is a strong commitment right across the country for us to respond appropriately, to make it safer for all of our citizens, to protect those who might be impacted by these drugs, and to take a real health and harm reduction approach.
Yes. Do you think there should not be any delay in taking any action against the opiate crisis in Canada?
Well, you know what? It is an emergency. If there was a fire burning, if there was a flood, if there was a natural catastrophe that was responsible for taking 3,000 Canadian lives, there would be no delay in response, and so therefore we cannot delay in our response. It's a complex issue. There is no simple solution, but there must be many solutions, and it requires the very best of us to do everything possible to keep our citizens safe.
Moving on to your experience so far, how you are seeing your transformation from a Toronto police chief to a member parliament?
Well, it's interesting. I've been a public servant my whole life.
Yes.
My entire adult life has been dedicated to the service, primarily in public safety, and I was looking for another opportunity. When I completed my time as the police chief in Toronto, I wanted to continue to serve. And so I had a number of conversations with different people, and I spoke to then the leader of the Liberal Party, Justin Trudeau, now our Prime Minister, and he talked about how we can continue to serve our community in Parliament through developing good laws and good programs to serve and help our communities be prosperous and safe and healthy. And so I believe that by becoming a parliamentarian, by going to Ottawa and working for the Prime Minister, I can continue to serve. And that really, I just wanted an opportunity to continue to serve. And the Prime Minister and the people of Scarborough Southwest gave me that opportunity when they sent me to Ottawa.
Do you want to give any message to our viewers?
Well, one of the things that I did want to speak about is our government is also looking at a way in which we believe we can do a better job of protecting our children and making our communities safe by reducing the influence of organized crime, by controlling and managing the issue of cannabis in a different way. And so the Prime Minister asked me, is there a way we can do a better job of protecting our children? We can do a better job of taking the profits away from organized crime. We can do a better job of protecting the health of Canadians. And so we've done a great deal of research, and we are coming forward with new regulations that will very severely restrict the access that children have, young people have, to this drug, because it can be very dangerous for them. And we are putting in a system of place for legal access of highly regulated cannabis for adult Canadians. It's one of the reasons I've come to Peel Region today and to the offices of my colleague Kamel Kara to speak with both public health, public safety, and business professionals in Peel Region about the government's plans, and to get their advice and their input and their feedback, so that we are committed to working with our community partners to do this right. And I just wanted to assure all of the people of Canada, and certainly the people of your community, that we will do what is necessary to protect our children, to protect our communities, to make them safer, and to protect the health of Canadians. And we do this in partnership with our communities and with our community partners, both at the municipal, provincial, and federal level. And so I'm very grateful for the opportunity to share that with you today. I've been very grateful for the information, the feedback, and the assistance that I've received from the people I've met with today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Blair, for joining us. It was really a pleasure talking to you, and we would like to see you again in future.
I'm always delighted to come out. I've maintained a good relationship with this community for very many years, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that you give to me to share those thoughts with them today.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.